Hello, my friends. Happy holidays and welcome to episode 231 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Vari.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone, and happy holidays, too.
It's that magical time of year again when the lights go up, the eggnog flows, and most importantly, everybody starts making lists. Naughty lists, nice lists, wish lists, shopping lists, you name it. Tonight, we've gathered our panel to build the ultimate series of Kiss lists. We're talking songs, stage moments, controversies, and the list goes on.
And once again, we are honored to be sharing the holidays with our panel, Patrick de Montigny, Mikey Bernasian, and Rolla Brown-Hinckley. Welcome to the show, guys.
Good to be here.
Hello.
Here, yeah.
Nice to see you. So let's get into a little warm up, to get us into the holiday spirit. So, Rolla, start with you. How is Kiss going to play into your holiday celebrations?
I was actually, before jumping on, and that's why I was a little late, talking to someone about a Kiss present for Christmas, so I can't share that.
Oh.
It has to be a surprise.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Can't share it. Sorry.
Someone
might watch the show before Christmas and no, so I have to keep it to
got
myself.
it.
I'll
There
tell
you
you
go.
after the show.
There you go. Michael, what about you?
Honestly, if I'm in the mood to listen to their music during the holidays, I will, but I could just as likely be in the mood to listen to somebody else. I mean, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, the past month or so, I've been very much listening to the Dress to Kill box set and the Alive box set. I do a half-hour walk for exercise every day, put on the earbuds and listen to something from that. That's what I've been doing very consistently. So to say I'm a little, I hate to say fatigued with listening to Kiss. I don't think I could ever be that. But today I actually listened to somebody else, and it was quite enjoyable, I must say, after listening to Kiss for quite a while. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if I end up listening to them, great. If I don't, it doesn't change it. It doesn't change my love for them, obviously. But I could just as easily listen to somebody else during the Christmas holidays. I listen to a lot of stuff anyways, so there's no guarantee that Kiss will be on the playlist. But if it is, then that'll be a good thing.
There you go. Awesome. Patrick?
I'm exactly like Michael. I have no idea what I will be listening to during the holidays. I'm kind of busy because I have people over and visiting, so it's like I was going to say not a good time, but it's not something proper really for me to say. I'm very moody when it comes to music. I could like lately I've been into the Sabbath mode. So it could be that. It's hard to say. I don't know how I'm going to feel during the holidays. But yeah, lately I've been listening to a lot of Sabbath stuff. So that's good. So we'll see. I'll say it the next episode.
There you go. Pasc, what about you?
I thought about this question, and my first thought was I want to disconnect for a little bit. But who's kidding who here? I'm not gonna disconnect. I just got the Alive box set and the Dress to Kill box set,
Right.
and I listened to those CDs over and over again. I need to listen to the Alive one a little bit more. But what I want to do over the holidays is go through the two books from beginning to end. I didn't even do that with the last two box sets, Destroyer and Creatures. If I've got time, I might do that as well. So I want to do other things besides Kiss related. Right now, I'm on this bandwagon of strategic board games, and I want to start doing like monthly game nights. And I'm just buying all these games, and I'm playing with them by myself and just practicing and learning the games. And I want to start focusing on that a little bit, doing something other than Kiss.
Okay.
I have so many interests that I didn't pursue because everything for me was Kiss. There's so many things I wanted to collect, but I was only collecting Kiss. And I want to start diversifying. I'm starting to sell part of my collection. I'm getting other collections. You know, I love Star Trek. I want to get some Star Trek memorabilia. I love board games. I want to get some more board games. More records outside of KISS. Do things outside of KISS. So I think this holiday season is going to be the beginning of that.
The beginning of that. Any specific reason? Or so did you get into some kind of fatigue with KISS?
Not fatigue, but I just wanted to do something different, something more. My life has always been encapsulated with KISS and everything KISS. I recently went to the holiday edition of the Comic-Con, and I've been going every year for the past 5 years now. But I rarely buy stuff because, well, no, I'm collecting KISS. Where am I I'm gonna put it? The money I'd be spending for this, I should be spending on a KISS item. Well, no more. Now it's like I'm gonna hold off on that KISS item and buy something else, enjoy something else. It's like music. Not just listening to KISS, listening to other things.
Okay. Same
thing with hobbies. I wanna pursue more of my interests.
Nice. Well, in my case, given that I didn't have enough time to go through the box sets, as I would like. So, I'm planning to put my headphones on and listen to every single detail. And same thing. So I want to go through the merch. I want to go through the goodies and stuff, the books. And during the holiday season, I really love reading. This is my quiet time. So I was thinking of buying maybe Joey Casada's book, on the KISS drummers.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm really looking forward to reading. So yeah, I might go that route during the holidays.
Mm-hmm. By the way, another thing I discovered also, audiobooks, but of course, KISS related. So yeah. I've been reading a couple of KISS-related audiobooks on Spotify. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right, KISS Army. Let's throw another log into the fire or another dollar into Gene's pocket. Grab some cocoa and settle in. Let's get into our KISSmas Lists Spectacular. So, like Michael said at the beginning of the episode, this is going to be a very simple, fun, straightforward episode. And we're going to start with a simple, straightforward question. This is an easy one. Name 5 KISS songs you would put on a Christmas morning playlist and tell us why. And Michael, we'll start with you.
Okay, so this assumes that I'm going to wake up on Christmas morning and I am going to listen to KISS and nothing else. So that's
right.
That's great. I'm already
that's the premise.
I'm already practicing hypocrisy. So so 5 songs. So I figured, it's Christmas Day. It's a fun time. It's supposed to be a festive time. So what are some fun, festive KISS songs? So I'll start with Rock and Roll All Night. I don't think anyone can argue with that. I mean, it was written to be fun and festive and to have a party atmosphere. The other one I chose in that vein is the song that I chose as my favorite KISS deep track back on that episode, Tomorrow and Tonight. Mm-hmm. Same kind of song as Rock and Roll All Night, to change the mood a little bit, but also, a nice song, a song with a nice message to it. A World Without Heroes has always been my favorite song off The Elder. So I think that would also be there. My 4th choice, just for the irony of it, Unholy.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's funny.
Good one.
And the last one, and I'm so happy I'm going to say this, quite frankly, and I'm interested to see if anyone else does, because I scratched my brain for a while and I was like, is there anything in the KISS catalog that approaches Christmas? Because they never recorded any Christmas songs or anything. So it's like lyrically, is there anything lyrically that could be associated with Christmas? And yes, I did find something that can be associated with Christmas. So my 5th choice is the song Burn, Bitch, Burn.
Wow. Oh, my God.
And the reason is because this is the song with Gene's infamous bit of poetry, "Oh, babe, I want to put my log in your fireplace."
There you go.
That's funny.
That's my list of 5 songs.
Oh, man. KISS Army, thank you very much. The show is over. All right, Patrick, try topping that.
I don't think I'll be able to. But anyway, I'll
It's
come up
gonna
with
be hard.
my little list very humbly. And I, unlike Michael, I didn't try to be in the Christmas. I was more selfish.
Hmm.
I was more selfish. I did it for myself, not for the festivities.
Not very giving, are you, Patrick?
Not in that regard.
Nah, I'm kidding.
Rock Bottom, because as you may recall, this is the first Kiss song I ever heard. Shock Me,
Yep.
for obvious reasons. Baby Driver, my favorite Peter Criss song. Almost Human, that's a deep cut, and I've always loved that song, and I'm so well, not disappointed, but it's kind of a bummer that they've never played it live, because I think it would have worked actually. And off the same album, Christine 16.
Hmm.
Every time I hear the studio version of Christine 16, brings me back to where I got the Christmas I got the Love Gun album.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Of course, what did I do the following morning? Put my headphones on and listen to it. So it takes me back.
Nice, nice. All right, Raula, how about you?
Okay, this was hard for me. And I tried to think of several different ways that I could change it just a little bit. At first, I thought, well, maybe I'll do 5 albums, because it's hard to just pick 5 songs. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take one song from each solo album, and then the first Kiss song I ever heard. So the first Kiss song I ever heard was Come On and Love Me. The next one off of Ace's album, Speeding Back to My Baby. The next one is You Matter to Me by Peter Criss. The next one is Hold Me, Touch Me, off of Paul's album. And then the last one is See You Tonight.
Nice.
Off of Gene. And the reason why is because they all have they seem to have more of a relaxing feel. You know, you need that when you wake up on Christmas morning, kind of with your coffee and hanging out a little bit. And then you kind of punch it up a notch with Speeding Back to My Baby and Come On and Love Me. So
nice.
yeah.
Cool. All
Good
right,
choices.
Claudio, how about you?
Yeah, I'm if I foresee my KISSmas day, I wanna have some strong rock and roll, early in the morning with supposedly there's gonna be some hangover, so that's why I need something to pump me up. So for the same reasons that Pat was mentioning, I remember, to me, a quintessential Kiss is I Stole Your Love. I'm going to go with that, start off with I Stole Your Love. Then 100,000 Years from My Life, that it doesn't get old. So every time I listen to that, with Paul's rap and the drum solo, it's something that really, really pumps me up. Love Gun, my favorite song of all time from Kiss. Then a little bit of fun stuff, as Mike was saying at the beginning, something with good vibes. I'm going to go with Tomorrow from Unmasked. I think it's positive. It's a fun song. And then I'm going to close it up with a pure rock and roll, a signature song from Kiss, Take Me.
Oh, nice.
Good one. Good one.
Nice. Good choices. Good choices. Okay. So, guys, I apologize in advance. This is going to be hokey. So, I wake up Christmas morning to a cold Christmas morning, and I put that log in the fireplace, not that log, not that fireplace, and, listen to something acoustic by the fireplace. Hard Luck Woman. And then, that special someone comes to join me at the fireplace, listen to that uplifting song, Forever. And when that song ends, take my significant other, we get up in front of the fireplace, a little slow dance to Every Time I Look at You.
Aw.
You're such a romantic guy. Look at this guy, man.
Oh my
my God, man. I never thought, is this you, man? Is this you, Pat?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Wow.
And, after our dance, we sit down and we listen to something Beatlesque, See You Tonight. And we end the morning and begin the Christmas day with a little, reflection, a song, a peaceful song, A World Without Heroes.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
That's interesting. Each one of us, we took different approaches. That's
Yeah.
lovely. Love
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
Good stuff. So we're going to stay with the 5. So could you name your top 5 Kiss stage moments? And of course, we have to say why. Rola, starting with you.
Ugh.
It
This was hard.
was,
I'm
yeah.
gonna start off with the reunion tour. I saw a couple of those shows, and that was actually my first. And you never forget your first. I mean, you can see them on TV, you can see them in magazines, but until you see them the first time, that was the first time. Ace and Bruce on the Kiss Cruise on the Sail Away stage.
Oh.
That to me was amazing. Something I never thought I'd see. And I remember every year we'd say, is Ace going to be on the cruise this year? Is Ace going to be on the cruise this year? And we kept hoping and hoping, and then he was finally there. Same thing with Bruce, seeing Bruce on the stage for the first time on the Kiss Cruise. That to me was very special. The Unplugged on MTV.
Yeah.
And lastly, and it's not Kiss, so to speak, but Kiss related, when Bruce did his compilations on the Kiss Cruise.
The medleys,
Those were some of the best. I mean, it's like I've said this several times with several people, that show, they saved that show for last because it was the best. Even before the Sail Away show, it was the best. So those are mine. I think that was fine.
Good choices. Love it. Super nice. Michael, your turn.
Okay, I think I took a different approach to this. So when you said top 5 Kiss stage moments, like top 5 things that happened during a Kiss show, so moments. So these aren't songs, but these are things that happened during a Kiss show. So slightly different than how Raw has done it. So these aren't in any particular order, but they're all moments. They're not songs. So Gene's fire breathing, a very important moment during a Kiss show, and there's always that not X factor, but there's always that risk element of, is he going to set his hair on fire? You know, so you know, and for all the shows I saw, he never did. Ace's guitar solo, and especially post from 1976 onwards when the smoking guitar was introduced. I mean, every single time for the times that I saw Ace live, the 6 times that I saw him live total, that was always, you know, a highlight for me, that solo. Obviously, he's not an Eddie Van Halen or an Yngwie Malmsteen or anything like that. He was never a technical player. Ace was a feel player. He was an emotional player, and that's what would come through in his playing. Eric Carr's drum solos. No disrespect to Peter Criss, no disrespect to Eric Singer, but I've always had a soft spot for Eric Carr's drumming, and any time, you know, any show I have or any video I've seen him of doing a drum solo, it's a highlight for me. I mean, the guy was into it every single time. It, you know, like you would never see him have a weak moment in terms of his drumming, and especially during those very inventive drum solos. I mean, rest in peace, Eric. Paul's guitar smashing. Always a fun part of the show for me. Again, there's a certain risk factor. Is Paul going to break the guitar by accident on the first hit? That's a possibility, but it's always fun, you know, at the very end to see him take that final swing and really have the guitar hit the ground and break. That's, you know, always fun. And the final moment, and I guess it kind of dovetails with Paul's guitar smashing, just the end of the show, the final confetti pyro explosions all going off at the end, the concussion bombs. It's like, where else do you get this? You know, except maybe on July the 4th, you know, but I prefer seeing it at a Kiss show, you know. It just fantastic every single time. It's like, thank goodness I'm wearing earplugs, you know, because, you know, every single time it's like, whew, these come in handy. So yeah, just amazing. So those are my top 5 Kiss moments.
Nice. I liked your approach. Okay. Beautiful moments during the show. Awesome.
Yeah.
Patrick, what about you?
Okay, so I understood the question the same way Michael did, so you may find some similarities there. first of all, Gene's blood spitting. I know it's like some people find it gross or anything like that, but at the same time, it's kind of cool because I remember the first tour I saw was Creatures. Yeah. And they added that bell and that demonic sound behind, like you would do the bass and then you'd hear the bell ring and his face was like green. You know, I was 13 years old. I knew he was spitting blood. It was not something like I didn't know he did that, but it's still when you see it live, there's this sort of like dangerous approach to it. It's like, it's it's a pivotal moment in the show. Also, the fire breathing, and I mean, you see him, holding his bass like that, and you can tell he's sort of like figuring how to where to do it and where to spit it. So it's always you keep your eyes on him, and there's the fireball. The other thing I always loved, levitating drums. I mean, you see that come up. Again, it's just something that levitates, but it's just like the whole atmosphere to it. It's at the end of Black Diamond, and then dang, and you see the drums levitate. You see the cats. It's like, Jesus, that's so cool. Also, Ace of Smoking guitar, especially during the reunion, because he would, it would fly, and then he would go da 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 da. You'd see him appear and do the Beethoven bit da 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 da. So I thought, that's cool. Something, especially he did that for the reunion. Never did that before that. Also, Gene flying. We don't realize how risky it is and dangerous. Each time I saw him fly up to the lightning truss, I was like, I hope nothing happens. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, there's a risk to it. That's why in the last two tours, I think he used the levitating thing instead. I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing.
I remember there were many shows where he got stuck, in the middle. Remember that? And he was like...
It's like, it must not be a good feeling.
Yeah.
And lastly, I know it sounds odd, but Peter, you hear the Bat team before, like the first encore or the second one, and you hear the first notes of Bat on the speaker, and then you see Peter appear. It is, when I saw that on the reunion, I was like, oh man, this is so 1977, 78. I didn't see the band at that time, but it reminded me of the videos of Houston. And so, yeah, those are some of the best stage moments for me.
Great. Pask?
So I took the approach of stage moments where I lost my mind. And the first one for me was an obvious one. When the lights went out and KISS came up from the floor on the Dynasty Tour in 1979 in Montreal, the first time I saw them live, I was 10, 11 years old, and seeing the real life characters come up on stage for real in front of my eyes, what that did to that 10-year-old boy still has repercussions today for this 57-year-old man. An amazing stage moment. And I said this a lot, that in the 80s, I sort of took a back seat and took a break from KISS. And I got back into them in 1989 with the Hot in the Shade tour. And when Leon disappeared and the logo came up, it brought me back to that 10-year-old boy watching that Dynasty show. Another incredible wow moment for me.
Jealous.
And I saw videos, but I never actually saw it live till 1998 when Paul started ziplining across the crowd. That was like so cool. You're used to Gene levitating up and the drum sets and all that. You never see Paul doing something like that. So that was something that was really cool. Seeing Paul flying right over my head, like, oh my God, that's just incredible. And number 4, I forget which show it was, but I was 5th row. And at the time, it was the closest I've ever been to KISS at a concert. And being in the middle of the explosions, the confetti, the risers, Gene right above me with Rock and Roll All Night, I literally, there's video of it. I lost my mind. I was screaming and swearing. Oh my effing God, I can't believe this. Oh my effing God, I can't believe this. It's like, I've seen it 1,000 times, but I was never in the war zone before. Just an amazing moment. And this one was weird. It was when Kiss toured with Def Leppard and they played my second favorite song, Hide Your Heart. And it's something that they don't play very often live. And I was standing next to Brenda. And when the song came on, I just closed my eyes and I put my hand out towards Paul. And from an outsider, it looked like I was possessed. And Brenda goes to me, Pask, what's the matter with you? I was just soaking in that moment. And I could understand to the outsider how weird I must have looked. I don't care. It was an incredible moment for me.
Nice. Well, I took the same approach as you, Pask. So kind of shocking moments in my life as a Kiss fan. Out of the five, there's one that I wasn't there. But I can only imagine what it must have been to be there, what it must have been like on the opening song of Tiger Stadium in '96. We read it so many times, but every time I watch, the Shout It Out Loud video, it gives me goosebumps. Even though I wasn't there, I can only imagine what it must have been like to be there after so many years, seeing the original lineup. Then my number two, and this is not in particular order, Kiss opening with 100,000 Years in Buenos Aires in September '94. It's small venue. I think that was the only time ever that they opened up with 100,000 Years, one of my favorite songs. Opening up with that in such a small venue, very, very intimate. The venue was like maybe for 1,500 people. And it wasn't even full. So it was very, very special to me. The first show, the first time I ever saw the original lineup in '96 at Madison Square Garden. To me, it was my first time in New York, first time at Madison Square Garden, watching being able to experience my favorite band there on the reunion tour. That's something that I will never forget in my life. Then Cobo Hall in 2009. I remember when they announced that they were going to play Cobo Hall, and then, Cobo was going to be shut down or, maybe demolished or something. I thought to myself, I have to be there. And I will never forget, the first time when they opened up with Modern Day Delilah, that show, that was something I will never forget. And believe it or not, Pask, for those wow moments, it's the opening song or the humming, and the curtain there, with the "You wanted the best, you got the best" of the last show in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've been talking about some wow moments for things that we experienced. Well, what about those moments that we wish we experienced? So name your top 5 pivotal moments in history you wish you personally witnessed. Patrick, start with you.
The first one was the press conference in 1996 at the USS Intrepid. You watch the videos or the excerpts of that, you can only imagine the electricity when they open the curtains and there's the band appearing in the first time in 16 years together. You can feel the electricity there, and that's something I wouldn't have had the question. I would have been in total awe, like, oh my God, they're right there.
Yeah, that's right.
My second one, Palladium in 1980. Just the fact that I was never one that liked the idea that the original band split, but many bands go through the same thing. So just to see how it was having someone new there doing his first show, an unknown, it must have been something. It's too bad they didn't film it properly, and you can only imagine like people being curious because you don't know this guy, and there's no internet back in those days, so you're going there with not knowing what to expect. The other one, a third one, Tiger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Tiger Stadium again, you could feel the electricity, like you, Claudio. I watched the Shout It Out Loud video, and I remember seeing that before they came to Montreal. I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait. I was counting the days just like a child before Christmas. They weren't able to duplicate that after that.
No.
Nothing as exciting came after that, but that's what makes it special anyhow. Also unplugged, because you can only imagine. Apparently, the people in the crowd knew something like that wasn't going to come up. But if I would have attended Unplugged and, oh, Ace and Peter are going to come up, I would have been like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only imagine. You see the crowd go, man, here they are. They're there, the four of them. So that's another show I would have loved to witness. And also, for some reason, I would have loved to have seen the South American 1983 tour. I had seen the Creatures tour in Montreal, but I would have loved to see that lineup perform where the stadium is full instead of half empty.
Yeah.
It was probably a different feel. So
Yeah.
that's something I would have loved to have witnessed.
Nice. Raula, how about you?
I may have taken just a little bit of a different approach, but possibly the same. I know we've talked about in the past how we all wish we could go back in time capsules, and that's pretty much what this is about. I want to go all the way back to the beginning, to the very first show and the Popcorn Club, and to witness the energy from the very beginning to the very end. The next one would be the Japanese tour in 77.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then to see them the very first time they were at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
That had to have been incredible as well. And then I was kind of torn between these last two. You guys mentioned Tiger Stadium, and that was on my list too. But the other one is, and Claudio, you were there, was in Buenos Aires.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I rewatched that video night before last, and the crowd and the energy and that whole place was astounding. And someone mentioned under the comments on that video, if a crowd could get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that crowd should have been. I mean, to me, it was just amazing. It gives me chill bumps just talking about the way, I mean, you could feel it through the video.
Yeah,
It was
you
just
can
amazing.
feel
It was an amazing show, and I would have loved to have been there, and you're so lucky.
Yeah. It is quite an experience, I have to say, because you are part of the show. You know, it's
Right.
not like you go and watch your favorite band, so you become part of the experience. It's a communion, you know, that is
Right.
established. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Michael.
Okay, my pivotal moments in history that I wish I had witnessed. So I'm going in chronological order here. Cobo Hall, 1975. I've listened to this show enough times now since the Dress to Kill box set came out, and when we talked about it during the discussion panel, one of the main things I brought up was how unique the set list was. A band like Kiss, for the most part in their career, stick to a set list for an entire tour for the most part, and yet in 1975, out of nowhere, this show, it's like they picked the songs out of a hat. We'll do this first, we'll do this second, we'll do this third, etc., etc. It's such a unique show. I wish I could have been there to actually see it. Number two, any show from the 1980 European tour with Iron Maiden opening.
Wow.
Eric Carr's first tour with the band. He re-energized the band. No disrespect to Peter, but at that point they needed a jolt of electricity, and they got it with Eric Carr. So I've always had a soft spot for those shows, and also the Australian 1980 tour shows. But also, if I could have seen another one of my favorite bands, Iron Maiden, on their very first overseas tour, as an opening band, or as any band really, headlining or opening, that would have been pretty cool. So that's a pivotal moment for me, that tour. I can't remember who said this before, but the 1983 Brazil shows in South America. Mm-hmm. I mean, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you watch the videos and it looks like a madhouse.
Oh,
I mean, just, I mean, it
and
just
the band is on fire.
yes, very absolutely. So yeah, that's also very pivotal. Tiger Stadium, 1996. I mean, I've seen video of this show. I know people who went to it, but yeah, would I have liked to have been there to see that pivotal moment of Kiss's big return? Absolutely. I mean, we all know that there was the warm-up show at in Irvine, California, 2 weeks earlier, and that was all good and everything, but it's only an hour show, and it was essentially a warm-up. This was the real deal coming at you, and yeah, I wish I could have seen that. My final pivotal moment is out of the box, but I think it is a very key pivotal moment in history that is very much underrated as well. And I'm going to read from Paul's book because he puts it better than I could put it. So if you'll indulge me for a second, I'm going to read. So it's 2002. The band has come to an end after the farewell tour. They did one or two shows at the beginning of 2002, a private gig in Jamaica or something like that. But for all intents and purposes, the band was done. And, Paul wasn't feeling all that great, I had no idea what I was going to do next. I thought about making music on my own. I thought about doing more theater. Losing Kiss was like losing a family member. It had been such a big part of my life. I felt a huge void. One afternoon later in 2002, I took my car to the car wash. And one of the workers said to me, "Paul, the farewell tour was great. When are you doing the 30th anniversary tour?" What? That would be okay? You mean you still want us? The guy at the car wash really opened my eyes. He still loved the band. He wanted to know what was next. I'm the one closing the door. I'm the one throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know who this guy is, but he is single-handedly responsible for the last 20 years of history.
True.
Because if it wasn't for that guy saying that to Paul would not have had his change of heart. And then we would have not had Kiss Symphony with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. We would have not had the Rock the Nation tour. We would have not had Sonic Boom. We would have not had Monster. We would have not had every single one of these tours that they did consistently from 2003 to 2023. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if he's ever been interviewed, but that for me is a pivotal moment in history. And yeah, if I could have been there, hey, I taking my car to the car wash too. Oh, look, it's Paul Stanley. He happens to be there too, and witness witness that. But that to me is a pivotal moment because we talk about 50 years of Kiss. It could have easily been 30.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah, good point.
So those are my top 5.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Claudio, your turn.
Well, I have some repeats with that's what normally happens when we are the last ones, in the out of the 5. So once again with my dear friend Pat, we have a lot of similar things going on. So press conference Intrepid Museum, April 1996. I feel the same electricity that you were making reference to, Pat. So every time I see that video, with people screaming and the lights and that not so nice logo behind, but it's so amazing. It's so amazing. With Rolla, first show ever, popcorn. I can't imagine, what it must have been like to be there, the first show. This one I think you're gonna like even more, Pat and Rolla. Ace's audition in the loft. I would love. Oh man, oh man, I would love to be, just a fly on the wall there when the guy, stepped in with the sneakers and plugged the stuff in and started playing. Oh my God, going back in time also, I'm more a Origins guy. The recording of the debut album, Bell Sound Studios, being there, see how things were going, how green they were, and how they were recording all those songs, in the air, with microphones. It can be, the energy must have been quite something there. And first time I ever saw the band was in '94. So to me, if for instance, if I could see anything from the Love Gun era, 77, 78, like Houston or any of the shows, I can only imagine, the gatefold of the Alive 2 and being there, with all the flames and explosions, and they were on top of the world at that time. So yeah, any show of 77, 78, I could die to be there.
Very nice. Very nice. For me, I talked about, moments where I experienced and I just lost my mind. These are moments that I wish I experienced because I know I would have lost my mind. And the first one is a recent one, the 50th anniversary of KISS in Cadillac. Man, Claudia, with the interviews we've done related to that event, the people we've talked to that were there, God, I wish I was there. And I think I would have been arrested because I would have been running around like a crazy person, store to store, buying anything with a KISS logo. And it's like, who is this nutcase? Hey, put him away, man. Put him away. Being in the school and in the gymnasium where they played, and that exact same spot. The parade route, the firehouse.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was like you're literally taking a trip through time being there. An amazing experience that I wish I got to see for myself. This one is a repeat of pretty much everybody else. Obviously, the Popcorn Club. Who wouldn't want to be there?
Yeah.
And this wouldn't be an example of you want to be there for the energy of the crowd. This is like I can imagine the crowd going, "What the heck is this?" And did these people even know that they're witnessing the birth of a huge phenomenon? Yeah. Did they know who these guys were and where they were going? If only they knew. But I'd want to go back knowing what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that being there. It's like, you guys, you're gonna see, Just that would be incredible. One of my favorite performances is the 1995 KISS Unplugged. To be there would have been incredible. I saw the unedited 3-hour version of that where they played some songs over and over and over again. It doesn't matter. That would have been an amazing experience. I would have pulled my hair out. Just seeing the whole band with Ace and Peter there at the end. Oh my God. I just couldn't imagine. The next one, Tiger Stadium. That show sold under what, 23 minutes? Just imagine how crazy the crowd must have been. And to have been there to see KISS, his first show. After all these years back in makeup, I would have gone crazy. Yeah. I would have been absolutely crazy. My last one is not a pivotal moment in history, but a pivotal moment for me is when I saw the Dynasty show. I got into KISS just after they played in Montreal for the Destroyer tour in '76. And I remember telling everybody, I went to the show. It was amazing. And then they asked me questions about the show that I couldn't answer, and they caught me in a lie. But God, I wish I was at that show. That's my favorite stage. My favorite costumes. That would have been
76.
Yeah, that would have been incredible to see. Yeah. My God.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Now it's about the top 5 publicity stunts or promotional events of all time. And we're talking about KISS, or if you have something else that it's not KISS, it's more than welcome. But top 5 publicity stunts or promotional events of all time. Pask, starting with you.
I think I try to find moments that again were pivotal in history. That if these moments didn't exist, the course of history would have been dramatically different today. And we can't talk about this topic without mentioning Bill Starkey and Jay Evans, the beginnings of the KISS Army. Come on. If that didn't happen, it would have been a whole different KISS world out here today.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, again, it's the Cadillac, Michigan celebration. That was a pivotal moment in history. you know, when Jim Neff called the band to come play and come to the town, and they did, and the whole hoopla behind it. Who knew that little event would have stayed with the Kiss Army for over 50 years?
Yeah.
It had that much of an impact. One of the best and most infamous interviews. Let's say it together, Tom Snyder. Wow, we really got, in a sense. Again, in those days, Kiss was still a mystery to us, right? But we got to see the human side of Kiss. We got to see Ace and Peter's personality, which was out of this world. We got to see Paul and Gene upset. Their business-like demeanor, that wall just dropped, and they couldn't hide the way they were feeling. That interview was so real. Another, for me, interesting promotional event is the introduction of the Kiss Cruise. That Kiss Cruise, and I went to the first one, and then 3 others after that. It basically skyrocketed my fandom for the band to the stratosphere on a whole different level, where you're literally going on a cruise with 2,000 fans from around the world. There's never been a Kiss experience like that ever, and it's never going to happen again. It's the penultimate Kiss experience that cannot be topped. And again, I think our fandom would have been different if Kiss Cruise wasn't around, whether you were there or not. It really changed the course of our fandom. And the other one, which really struck me, was Kiss's introduction to the mainstream audience on the Mike Douglas show. That was
Okay.
And there was that woman who kept on giving Gene really dirty
Tootie.
looks.
Yeah.
And figuring out that Gene's hooked that he was Jewish, and Gene still not knowing who he was. Was he a demon? Was he a bat? What was he? And I could imagine the band playing to an unsuspecting audience. Like, what on earth is this? I would have loved to have been in the audience, but not watching Kiss, but watching the audience reaction.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
that in itself must have been a show.
Those faces.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good ones. Love it. Patrick.
Okay, so I took it from a marketing or some like a strategic approach in the events that I'm gonna name. First of all, MTV Unmasking. Now, what's so odd about the MTV Unmasking is that they could, at that point, Kiss could barely get arrested. We have to be realistic here. So they couldn't do something too big like, okay, now he's going to remove his thing. They did very simple. Face, here's what he looks like now. And that's a short interview. Nothing outrageous. Very unlike Kiss. So I think the message behind that was that we're going into a very, very moderate approach. We're still going to put on one heck of a show, but everything was toned down. So it was kind of weird because before that, everything was amplified. Now it was like very toned down. Also unplugged, because again, unplugged is probably what led to the reunion. Although it's unfortunate for Bruce and Eric, because Bruce and Eric, in a real way, were the real superstars of that show. They delivered the goods. Everything was perfect. And Bruce did some amazing solos on the songs. But when Ace and Peter came out, again, I may have mentioned this before. You hear the crowd go, Kiss, Kiss, Kiss.
Yeah.
Were they testing the waters? That we'll never know. Did they say no? Some say, yeah, it was already in the works. We don't really know, but something was happening. So it did set the tone for what was coming afterwards. So was it totally strategic? Who knows? Also, the American Music Awards in '96 when they appeared. And there were rumors circulating that they were going to appear. And I remember I couldn't be there that night. So back in the day, you had the VCRs that you could program to record.
Yeah.
Got back home a little earlier, and one of my friends called me and said, they were on. And I couldn't stop the machine. I almost wanted to throw it against the wall, but I finally managed to stop it and to see it. And again, it was very wise because they didn't say a word. They just
Yeah.
appeared, and you knew it was the four of them. It was not Gene and Paul with two other guys. It was really Ace and Peter. And go, okay, so what's people were wondering, is it like it'd be a one-off or are they reforming for real? It got people talking.
Yeah.
And again, no internet, or I think it was just starting. So, oh, okay, what's going on here? So it got people talking, which was very clever for them to do. The other publicity stunt that was kind of cheesy, but it did work, was the blood that they put for the
Oh yeah.
for the first comic book. Again, it's extremely cheesy, extremely 70s, but nonetheless,
It worked.
get people talking. That's the whole idea. Oh, by the way, kids, they put blood in their ring. Ha ha ha! How tacky! But it did sell. It did sell. And of course, also Cadillac was a great publicity stunt because Kiss at that point, they were still kind of like underground. It was still like this band that scared people. And then for them to be at that event, it was like, oh, it gets people talking. That's the whole idea. So, and it was brilliant. That one thing was, and they even got the mayor and his wife and the staff to put on Kiss makeup. And they were middle-aged people. So you got to think they were pretty strong to be able to pull off something like that.
Mhm.
So those are my top fives.
Nice. Rolla.
I'm going with, first off, the Blood comic book.
Yeah.
That was one of the first Kiss items that I really had to have. And I have it, and I have it signed by all four members, so it's kind of special to me.
Nice.
The next thing, of course, was the whole Kiss Army ordeal. You know, it's like Pat said. I mean, where would we be if that hadn't happened? I mean, would we be as big of fans as we are now, or as tight-knit of fans as we are? Cadillac, Michigan, I have to agree with that. The whole town. I can't imagine being there with Kiss everywhere in the whole town, and even a little controversy and a little conspiracy going on at the same time with Gene. The MTV Unmask. It was a little non-eventful, and I think it kind of was like, what happened with that? Why? We thought they were going to do a little bit more, like Patrick said. And of course the Kiss cruises as well. That was phenomenal. I'm like, I have to go.
Yeah.
Gotta be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Michael, what about you?
Okay, so far I have 3 repeats and 2 that no one has set up till now. So Cadillac, I'll go in chronological order here. Cadillac, Michigan. It is. I mean, as a promotional event, you want to call it a publicity stunt, whatever you want to call it. It was, it's cool to watch. Now, we can have as much video we could watch of it now, and supposedly the show was professionally recorded. Hopefully, that could be an off the soundboard release one day. Is anyone listening? Releasing the 1978 solo albums on the same day. Whoever did that before, So yeah, that's a great. You want to call again publicity stunt, promotional event, both really. The Unmasking in 1983. Yeah, I mean it may have been underwhelming to a certain degree, but yeah, it fits this category very well. Appearing on the Grammys in February of 96. I remember seeing that, calling up a friend of mine saying, "Are you watching the Grammys?" "No, I'm not." "Well, turn it on." 5 seconds goes by, 10 seconds goes by as he's getting the channel. He finds the channel. Oh my God. That was the only thing he said. And the next thing I said was, "We're seeing them this year, I guarantee you." And sure enough, we did. Yeah. The last one, in terms of publicity stunts and promotional events, Pask and Claudio, you'll like this. Not the final 2 MSG concerts, but all the hoopla around those final 2 shows.
Yeah.
True.
Being in New York, all the events that happened. I mean, I didn't go, but thank you, social media, for being able to present all this to the person who stayed at home. It was fun just sitting here in my house and checking that out every once in a while and seeing things happening and seeing people meeting up with each other and seeing, KISS going to the Empire State Building, et cetera, all the newspapers and stuff with special KISS content. I mean, that was a nice publicity stunt, promotional event, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my 5.
Awesome. So I have a lot of repeats. But I had prepared like a list of 10. So I have some spares. I had a backup plan. So one of them, it's the movie, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I think that was really, really smart. Even, the members of the band, they didn't know what they were doing, but it worked. So even to this day, we call it like a cult, kind of movie or something, but it's still there in the talk. So Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. The Psycho Circus 3D tour, when they were claiming, this is something that you never saw before, the 3D, blah, 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 with the announcement of the Dodger Stadium show, with Smashing Pumpkins opening up and this circus, that was a big publicity on that day, on Halloween. I have to go with the Kiss Army fan club, no doubt. And I think it comes hand in hand with the Kiss Cruise, because I think the Kiss Cruise give us the possibility to know so many people, to kind of create this huge family. And, every year we had the hope of seeing friends right there, not so much about the band, but it was about meeting people. And I don't know if you're going to like this one, but I think the avatars, it's quite something. So I don't know if the timing was right, for the announcement, but it got everybody talking about it and everybody like expecting, I don't know, not in my case, but, how's this going to be, 2027. And Paul, in the last cruise, saying that what we had seen in New York is nothing compared to what we're going to see in the future. So I think that's a big marketing, a big promotional speech, the next thing coming up, the new era, look at that.
All right, cool. All right, listen, guys, we can't end this show without talking about Ace. So let's make our final list about Ace Frehley. So what are your top 5 Ace Frehley moments? And now this could be an interaction you had with him. It could be television appearances, something you witnessed on stage, whatever you like. Claudio, back to you.
Well, I'm going to start off with having the chance to meet him, backstage. I'm sure that you're gonna share this one, Pask. I had never met Ace before, and I had heard awful things about how he was treating fans or whatever. So I have to say that from all the occasions that I had the chance to meet with members of the band, that was the best. So I'm really grateful for that. Shocked me at Madison Square Garden in July '96. The first time I ever saw the original lineup, and when I saw the smoking guitar, and him playing "Shock Me" and singing, this is something I will never forget. The Tom Snyder show, no doubt. It's every time I see this, and I'm watching it, very often. I'm still laughing. I'm cranking up. It's unbelievable. The announcement, and actually when I had it in my hands, the Frehley's Comet debut album, I couldn't believe it. I loved it. I don't know. Kiss wasn't doing that great at that time, and I loved the Ace so much. I remember that I was listening to that album even more than a Kiss album. And I have to say, I agree with Rolla. He's kind of sloppy but magical, solo in Budokan in 1977. I don't know. To me, that takes me to another place. It takes me to another planet. When I see him playing there, I don't know if it's the sound or the image or something, but it looks like he's not coming from this planet.
Cool. All right, Michael.
Okay. some of these things we've mentioned before, and some haven't been mentioned. So I mentioned this earlier, Ace's guitar solo, and especially anything after 1976 with the smoking guitar, and also the length of the solo too, because up until 75, it was relatively short, 1 to 2 minutes. But after that, he got his time to shine, and do a solo and have the smoking guitar and have it levitate and whatever. Anyways, definitely. Definitely something I always enjoyed witnessing. The Tom Snyder interview. Surprise. Yeah, always fun. I mean, Ace gave many interviews, and it's worth seeing. It's worth watching, any interview really, because on a given day he may be one way or another way, but everyone gravitates to the Tom Snyder interview, and I can understand why. This is an interesting one, at least for me anyways, and I'm including it. Ace's presence during the 1982 Creatures promotional tour. Ace did not appear on Creatures of the Night, but the band still wanted to have the mirage, let's use that word, the mirage that he was still in the band. So Ace went on the promotional tour with Kiss. I mean, and there's plenty of video of it out there, and I've watched, I think, all of it, because I just find it so interesting, that, he's essentially there going through the motions and, being a good guy about it, I guess, it's like, can you please do this before you leave us kind of thing. And, he did, so yeah, that's I've always found that interesting, for lack of a better word, I guess. This one is very specific to me, but anyone can hear this if they go on YouTube. I've said a time or two that the 1998 Psycho Circus show that I saw here in Montreal is one of my favorite Kiss shows that I've ever seen. For some reason, Ace's guitar solo during Rock and Roll All Night in that show is just otherworldly. It's so good.
Really?
I mean,
Wow.
I've said it before. He's not Eddie Van Halen. He's not Yngwie Malmsteen. He's not any of these people, but he had a way of playing, that obviously, touched many people, and and that was my first time ever, recording Kiss, and I recently had my master tapes transferred digitally, and it's now available on YouTube. So you can listen to it if you want. You can tell me if I'm nuts, but every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's so good, and it's a solo he's played a million times, right?
Yeah.
For the song that Kiss has played a million times, and he's played solo thousands of times, and yet for some reason I kind of like it more than any other solo. The last one I'm going to mention is the Montreal show that he did in 2008, in March of 2008, the solo show. That was my first time seeing Ace solo, my only time seeing Ace solo. But what a show, after a few years of him finally getting his life back on track, and just, pre-Anomaly, because Anomaly came out in 2009 after so much time of him not releasing a studio album. But that show was like a precursor of like what's to come. It's like, here I am and I'm back. And definitely I'm still in awe of that show, really.
Where did he play?
At Metropolis.
Metropolis? Okay.
Yeah. I remember I had a seat right almost near the very top in the balcony. So I was basically just looking almost right down on the stage, and like from the go, it was like, wow, okay, this guy's on, and the band is on, and it's like a new day kind of thing, It's like, it's not the old Ace, it's the new Ace. And he was consistent. No matter what Gene and Paul want to say, he somehow turned his life around in the mid 2000s and got on track and released some incredible material.
Yeah. Okay, Rella?
I want to say it was probably about 3 years ago. Ravonda was good friends with Ace's then bodyguard, the really big guy. She calls him Big Daddy, but that's not his name. He's from New York. He's a retired New York police officer. And so he got us in the show. We went to South Carolina, got us in the show, and the opening act didn't show up. So Ace came on, and he said, my opening act didn't show up, so I'm going to play a little longer for you.
Hmm.
So he played probably 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And this is, he wasn't a spring chicken then either. But that I remember was really nice. And he played a lot of his newer stuff that he had going on. And then Dave and I saw him in February, this past February in Newton, and he played a lot. He played 10,000 Volts. He played Cherry Medicine. We did a meet and greet with him after the show, and he was so kind and so nice. I mean, and for the most part, he usually is. But this particular meet and greet was different. He looked at me and he said, "How'd you like the show?" And I'm like, "I loved it. It was great as always." And he's like, "Was it too loud?" And I'm like, "Well, you know what they say about that." He said, "Yeah, if it's too loud, you're too old." And I said, "Exactly." So, I mean, there was just a little moment there that I'll always remember. And of course, the smoking gun, like you guys have said, I mean, the smoking guitar, like you guys have always said, I mean, that never gets old. It's one of those moments that you get chill bumps every time you see it.
Yeah.
And of course, the Tom Snyder show, that laughter. I wish we could have heard more of that laughter.
Yeah.
And then I've got one that nobody's mentioned. Do you guys remember the opening of the video Fire and Water?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Good one.
he and Paul shake hands and they walk into the
Oh.
studio together.
That's a
To
good one.
me, that was incredible. An incredible Ace and Paul moment.
Nice.
That's a good one. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. All right, Patrick.
There's when I saw Ace in New York in 1993, because up to that point he wasn't touring much outside of the US. And me and three other friends said, well, if he's not going to come to us, we're going to go to him and let's make it a fun thing. So we had joined Rock Soldiers and we drove to New York City to see the Ritz show. There was Dee Snider's then band Widowmaker, which was great. It was a great opening act, and then Ace was there, and we were amazed. And then after that, met him for the second time during that day, but the first official way. Signed my solo album, and he said, "Who do I sign this to?" And that was great. And of course, the Bad Boys tour, him and Peter, my two bad boys, touring together. That was amazing to see. And Montreal being the first show, the show was not yet settled, if I can say that. But to see it, before my eyes was just like unbelievable. And then meeting him again. Seeing him in his dressing room after the show, and of course, when I first heard his solo album, I was 10 years old, and I'll always remember when I heard Fractured Mirror for the first time. I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know he could make music like that," because compared to the rest of the album, which pretty much is hard rock, then comes this odd instrumental, and I loved it. So I thought, well, Ace has a lot of talent. He can write more than just rock and roll.
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, probably his last show that I've seen in March 2008. You could tell he was in top form, and it was. I like the Kiss references on his pants. I think I don't recall if it was that show, but there was like the hotter than hell lightning bolts. I like the Kiss reference. It's like you leave Kiss, but Kiss never leaves you. So, but yeah, that's those are my the moments that come to mind.
Cool. I have to admit, I was never a big Ace Frehley fan. Key word was that changed, and these were the moments that I became more and more of an Ace fan. These are moments that I witnessed and I was shocked. It was not what I expected. He shocked me every time. Michael, I was at that show at Metropolis. That was the first time I saw Ace solo. And I had no expectations. To be honest, I thought it's going to suck.
Me neither. Yeah.
He's he's going to forget the lyrics. He's just going to fool around up there. He's going to talk and just mess everything up. It's like, and when I saw that show, it's like, oh my God, wearing the shades and everything. He was so cool. He was such a rocker. Played one song after the next, and flawlessly. It was just an amazing band. I went, oh my God, what was I thinking? This guy's incredible. What an amazing show. So I started to develop more and more of a respect for him starting at that show. Then a few years later, I forget what year it was, but it was the New Jersey Kiss Expo where Ace was present, and he played the entire solo album. It's like, wow, what an achievement and accomplishment that was. These are songs that were never played live. It must have been just played for the album, then maybe possibly never played again. And here he is doing it for the first time in front of a large audience. That took guts, and it came off amazing. And I felt like I was at an important part of history, witnessing that. And this guy pulled it off. Like, again, another shocking moment that elevated my respect for Ace. And then, of course, you hear the stories, meeting Ace in person. He's in a mood. He doesn't pay attention to you. He sits down, puts up the thumb, and that's it. He doesn't even acknowledge that you're there. So at that same expo, I did a meet and greet with him. And again, I didn't expect much. I expected him to basically sit down. I sit next to him, take a picture next to him with a thumb, and walk away. That's it. No. He acknowledged that I was there. He looked at me and he said a few words to me, and he was standing, and we stood together and took this really cool Christmas themed photo together. And I went like, wow, I can't believe I believed those stories. This guy is so personable. It was like, I felt comfortable around him. He didn't feel like this over the top rock star that you're around and you feel intimidated by. It's like, he's an everyday man. He's like you and me. And also his music. It's like, I found his solo stuff okay, after Anomaly and stuff. But wow, when he released 10,000 Volts, that's it. I became a mega Ace fan after that album. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, and in fact, I think I'm crazy. I like 10,000 Volts more than its 1978 solo album. That's how much I liked that record. I liked every single song. It's like, wow, I've never heard a sound so good. These songs are so catchy. Just, again, another shocking moment. And it was at that point where I became a mega fan. And it really came full circle, Claudio, of course, when we met him in Rutland. And that wasn't a meet and greet. That was after we interviewed Lara. Lara gave us backstage access, and we just wanted to meet Lara and say hi. And Ace came to us and take a picture with us. Oh, let me sign something. Sit down. Let's talk a little bit. We were talking as friends with Ace Frehley. There was a lineup of people waiting to see him, who paid to see him. And here he is talking to us. Wow. And that was the last time that we've seen him, you know? And for me, it really closed that chapter regarding my fandom with Ace. And I mentioned this also before. I wasn't happy with the final show, and in a sense, I needed closure. I needed something big to sort of close the Kiss chapter. And for me, it was that Rutland show. Yes, and I said that to you as well. Meeting Ace, talking like we're friends. That's it. Yeah. We thought nothing could top the 2023 show. No, nothing could top that experience with Ace. And for me, that was perfect closure, thanks to Ace Frehley.
There you go. Yeah, I think he gave meaning to all our fandom, for so many years.
Exactly.
Guys, that was fantastic. What a great way to go into the holidays. Thank you so much for sharing this special with us. But before we break for the holidays, is there any message that you would like to send to our Kiss Army listeners? Rolla.
Merry Christmas. And Dave, if you're watching, Merry Christmas. Love you, baby.
There you go. I love it. Michael?
Celebrate the holidays as you wish, however you want to celebrate them. relax, take time to enjoy yourself and enjoy life. If you want to listen to KISS, if you want to listen to anybody else, KISS has always been about freedom. And, that's something Paul has said on a number of occasions. So you have the freedom to listen to KISS, not listen to them during the holidays, but just enjoy yourselves the best you can. And don't forget the log in the fireplace.
God almighty.
Patrick.
Well, I want to say to our listeners and everyone, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family and cherish those times with your loved ones and your friends and whoever. And looking forward to a great 2026 with more discussion panels.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So before we wrap up this KISSmas special, on behalf of Claudio and myself, we want to take a moment to thank our incredible panel, our guests, and every single one of you, the KISS Army, for watching and listening. Your support throughout 2025 has meant the world to us. The show simply wouldn't exist if you guys didn't show up week after week, if the guests didn't say yes to our requests week after week, if our panel guests weren't crazy enough to say yes last minute with last minute questions and come on the show, right, Michael? Yes,
Right,
drives
right
him
here.
crazy.
Right.
Thank you so much for everything that you guys put into the show, our listeners for supporting the show, our guests for coming on and giving us an insight into the KISS world. It's just an amazing experience, and I'm looking forward to what this podcast has to offer in 2026.
And by the way, we're going to be taking a short break during the holiday season, but we'll be back on January 18th with all new episodes, more interviews, more fan profiles, and plenty more deep dive discussions about the hottest band in the land.
Absolutely. And until then, enjoy the holiday season to the fullest with your family and friends. And of course, never stop rocking. Happy holidays, everyone.